Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Racers Driving League for Season 20, Round 10 of the Championship. Welcome to Circuit Gilles Villeneuve here in Montreal for the Canadian Grand Prix. And as it was last week, the heavens have once again opened to kick us off here in qualifying, but hopefully we'll still be able to bring you an exciting event. I'm your host, Zach Garcia, as always. Alongside me is Ben after betting quite an exciting race last week. Of course, 100% Grand Prix, and we had weather quite similar to this in qualifying last week. So we're looking like more of the same on that front this week.
Yeah, it's looking like that. It was a bit drier compared to what it was in Spain at the start of qualifying, but hopefully it should be a fascinating one.
And I've already seen a bit of contact to the outside wall of the exit, but that's down at turn 4. That was Imrie, who's first car out on the circuit for qualifying here in Q1. Of course, back to the 3-stage quali for this week and our half-length Grand Prix as standard. I mean, lucky to avoid any sort of end plate damage early on. One thing I do want to ask you about is obviously there's been a bit of a development in terms of, not so much ongoing from last week's race, but more the fallout from that. The stewards had a look at the incident between Imrie and Huff last week on that safety car restart, and they marked down as a racing incident. There was an appeal that got denied as Imrie goes for a second slide there. But those two involved in that collision, obviously only on a reserve basis because Huff is still a reserve, but those two are teammates this week with HB Cook out the picture. So I'm hoping that there's no more altercations between those two, because it's been the same, because they've made contact two in the last few weeks, in terms of racing incidents, once around Monaco and once in Spain last week.
Yeah, let's hope they keep it clean first time around, as Emery's trying to start as that, but he's losing it all the time. Yeah, I'm sure it's more of just one-off and it just happened to be the same driver both weeks, but we'll soon find out.
Well, there's been two pole positions and 3rd and 12th from his last two races. Those races obviously being Monaco and Spain. So not fantastic runs for Imrie the last 2 weeks. It's 15 points from the last two rounds where 50 were on offer, where you see Grumio's taken 43 from those. So a big gap gain in the championship. Imrie slips to 3rd, and Grumio now leads the way over Dan by 86 points. Okay, I had a look at this earlier before we got going, Ben. So Grumio last season scored, I think it was 471 points on his tally. We've completed 9 rounds, and with 15 to go, he's 43% of the way there. So I'd say he's on course to sort of match, perhaps even exceed his points tally from last season, which is quite impressive.
Brilliant. Just what I wanted to hear. Nah, but in all seriousness, he's a 10-time world champion in the RDL, but so I can bring a fight to him, challenge him, and they can have a few squabbles here and there.
It'll be interesting to see if they can pull that off as Grumio comes through. He's hit the outside wall on his first flying lap as well. Imrie's coming towards the line now. He's just exiting past the wall of champions up towards the flag, up towards the line to complete that first run. It's a 1:19.5 on the ball for the Sauber driver, so a solid start for him. Obviously, just a banker lap, I imagine, to start off with, just to sort of get a feel for the conditions. Whether things will dry up later on, not too sure, as 10th Cannon goes second fastest, 1:20.2 on the ball for 10th. Another good finish for her last week, and another 5th place finish that puts her unbelievably in 6th place in the Drivers' Championship. She's had absolutely fantastic, I know I keep on saying it, but she's had an absolutely fantastic season so far. You just saw Che retire there. He's serving his quali ban. Obviously, he wasn't here last week to serve his ban after Monaco, so serving it this time around. And that's all 19 cars in the grid. Pope not with us tonight, and no reserve in his place. So just the 19 of 20, but hopefully it should still be an exciting race.
Hopefully so, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed indeed. You see Webster towards the line there, 1:20.8 on the board for the Aston Martin driver. And like I say, just trying to get a feel for the conditions in his opening laps as Grumio goes 1:19.9. And obviously it's first laps for everyone, so let's not expect too much just yet. You see Curtis there in P4. So 5 drivers have come through and set their lap times to start us off. I mean, Ben, this circuit, Montreal as a whole, can be either a calm race or a chaotic race. There's all sorts of factors that could play into it. And of course, you and I were discussing an incident sort of midway through the race last season before we got on the air, were we not?
Yeah. Just happened to be on a safety car restart. It was 3 wide into turn 1. I went to go. Nowhere left to go. Ended up spinning out with a result with the first contact made by the driver on the inside of me, and caused an absolute power back further on. So it can be chaotic, but it can also be quite dull depending on obviously where the conditions. I would see who's currently on the lap, but my game's crashed.
I've just seen, yeah. Oh wow, that is a bit odd. We'll see if we can get you back in sooner rather than later. If I hop across and just send you an invite if I can. Oh, I dare say I can't see you on my list.
Good old F1. Good old EA.
Yeah, EA's playing. Sorry, yeah. As much as I want to invite you back, we have to. Okay, no. If you want to rejoin off JB, then we can get us carrying on from here. Ethan's got across the line there. P7 for him. That's a 1 minute 20.973, slowest of the 7 cars who have set lap times so far. Curtis still on track, not improving, getting backed off at some stage over the course of the lap in his Red Bull. Websy does say there P5. Lucky Lambert in P4. Lucky's starting to come alive in recent races. Obviously, on his return to the league, hasn't scored any points yet, but you've seen the pace he's been exhibiting, and he's been solid from the last weeks. And I wonder, it should only be a matter of time to me until he gets those first points on the board.
Yeah, I imagine so. Yeah, so we'll see. Lucky has obviously been here before. He knows the league very well, so he knows how drivers can react to certain situations here and there. He's got a lot of experience as well. He's also got the racecraft behind him, so just needs to have a good display, and I'm sure he'll be on a good run.
And obviously, let's not forget that he is a former champion of the league, season 10 champion. Obviously, a long time ago at this stage, but the experience has always been there for Lucky. Imri went faster still, 1 minute 18.986. Look at the gaps here so far, Ben. 0.942 seconds from Imri to Grumio. Well, obviously, I imagine we'll see the Haas driver improve at some stage, but it's looking good so far for the Saab driver. Again, looking for another pole position to add to his tally this season.
Yeah, I think it's also dependent on track conditions as well. Obviously, Imri's really good in qualifying, but he's had his fair share of moments during the race, I think it's safe to say. That's obviously Imri's one of the title contenders, if I can get my words out properly. He's up there every single week in, week out. He's just getting caught in a few incidents here and there, which every driver goes through at some point, and I'm sure Grumio will have that patch at some point of the season as well.
I feel like drivers have been getting closer and closer to Grumio in recent weeks, so it wouldn't surprise me to see our champion get hit with a fair few more challenges. So Lucky Lama goes second fastest here, and I've noticed obviously these wet qualifying sessions can shake things up in terms of order. We saw it last week in Spain. Obviously, we saw Alvar qualify quite high up. 10th Cannon was there in P4, another fantastic quality for her last week. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing if we should see any sort of outsiders who perhaps wouldn't normally run up front get a chance to challenge in the full 3-stage qualifying. The rain is still here. It's trying to settle down, but not really going away too much as of right now. So we'll stay as we are for the minute. Lucky Lambert still there in P3. Dan's got up to the second place rather. 1 minute 19.6 on the board. Shea, as I said earlier on, out of session, serving his quali ban. So we'll start in P19 for the start, short of any disqualifications during qualifying. Ericsson's out on track for McLaren. Of course, he's looking to get some more points on the board for him. McLaren with a big gain in last week's race. So Alvar finishing 6th place. That's a big 8 points for the team. That keeps them in 9th place in the Constructors, but only now 4 points to Aston Martin in 8th place. So big gains in terms of points last week for the Papaya outfit, and we'll see if they can carry that on this week as well.
Yeah, obviously Alvar had a brilliant race last time out in Spain. That all really helped out just qualifying with it getting dry as the qualifying session went on, and also just people kept getting their laps in, and you were one of the last ones to cross the line, and I think it was 4th or 5th overall, so did really well to convert that into the amount of points that I did, but this is totally different track, totally different characteristics, so we'll see if he's got that place tonight.
Should be interesting to try and find out, and we'll see if anyone can try and sort of get themselves back on their high horse. But I'll say John drivers to keep an eye out for. So you've mentioned 10th a fair few times. Let's keep an eye on JB tonight as well. He's in the pit lane for now. Hasn't gone out for a first lap as of yet, I don't think. But JB, points scored in his last 2 races. 9th place in Monaco, 10th last week in Spain. Obviously, took advantage of the struggles of those around him to capitalise completely. Obviously, held for a number of cars with penalties towards the end of the race, as I'm sure you remember, Ben. And we'll be hoping to see JB in the points for a third successive race here, because it feels like that RB team is coming alive as they try and fight the sister team Red Bull, who are now 7 points in front of them in the Constructors. Obviously, that's Curtis and TJ, both of whom are on the grid tonight and currently running P5 and P7. So it's going to be a tough ask, I think, for the RB drivers to keep up as Curtis goes fast there. 1 minute 18.6, and that is good timing. And I dare say the rain is stopped
raining.
Yes, so we should start seeing some dry running towards the end of this session. We might still see a few drivers sneak into Q2. So it should be interesting here. We're obviously going to lose 4 at the end of the session in just under 8 minutes' time. So plenty of time to get back on the soft tyres and go for a run.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So the differences between this session and what we had last week in Spain is it was still raining until literally right at the very end. Well, near enough stopped, but it was probably just greasing up for intermediate tyres. Obviously, it would start off really wet as Daniel Aaron goes fast as several. We can expect to see these times tumble a lot.
Tumbling like flies, I should think. I mean, like I said, Ben, the rain has stopped, but we're still sort of in that transition point where inters are still the fastest. It's not quite a time for soft just yet, but we've got plenty of time for that to change. That transition will come. TJ there in third place. So both Red Bulls, as I mentioned them, have both sprung up to what was P1 and P2 until Dan topped the pair of them there with that one at 18.424. You see Obsessed there in P5. Mercedes looking quite good in terms of the constructors as of right now. P4 for them, and only 11 points off of Sauber in third place. So with Imri being the lone driver who could score points for that team tonight, I think it's fair to say that Sauber were under a bit of pressure to actually get a solid finish over the line, as it was for Imri in Monaco at Imola. Of course, he's had a number of good races in the past. So obviously, Spain last week was a dip in form for him, and we'll see if he can recover from that tonight at a circuit he's done well at in the past. But I mean, and I'm seeing DJ into second place as well there, woman at 18.491. So whether we see the same cars getting knocked out, it could do the same thing, but we might see some drivers higher up the order at the end of Q1 than we might have expected.
Yeah, absolutely. I may see the likes of obviously Grumio in the 10th. Look, obviously, Lucky's just said of Grumio. Grumio's still in the pits, so I wonder if it's going to wait until the last minute to then go out. Take the best of track conditions and see how we can do. That may shake things up if he does invalidate, which he already has in this session alone.
Sorry, that's Grumio, yeah?
Yes, that's Grumio.
Did see that? I'm just double checking. I mean, Lucky starting on the racetrack there, 3/10 up on Grumio. I mean, Imre and Grumio P5, P9 at the moment, so we're definitely more used to seeing those two running first, second, third in the top 5 at minimum during these first qualifying sessions, to pair them sort of size each other up and get a sense in terms of pace, who's going to be where for that shootout in Q3. Because those two, I think, are the ones. I mean, if you ask me, in terms of one lap pace, I think that Imre and Grumio are. I mean, it's not much, but they are a cut above the drivers behind, such as Pope, Dan, Che. Those drivers there, 80. Webbsy goes fastest, then 118.3. And he's still doing that on intermediate tyres, Ben. So I'm thinking perhaps we might still see some intermediate runners towards the end of the session. The Inters might still be the best tyre going on to those final runs. So I have to wait and see who goes to the soft.
Yeah, I think we'll start seeing soft maybe towards the latter, like the latest part of Q1 you can get. Obviously, we'll see him in Q2, Q3, depending that it will be dry. Judging by the conditions, I can't see any rain coming anywhere for the next few minutes or so, probably the next 10 minutes. But it has notoriously gone from wet to dry to then wet again. We've had that before.
We've seen that in the past, yes indeed we have, and we'll see if that comes back again. Obviously, Canadian weather will be difficult to predict in that sense. We've seen races here, we've seen dry races here in the past, so it's a lottery in that sense, which is always more exciting for us up here in the commentary box. You see Alvar go down towards the hairpin here into the right hand. He's down his previous effort, but will likely charge back up and go for another round. Perhaps he can come back in and put a set of soft tyres on. I do want to bring to attention Curtis's lap earlier. Obviously, he's down to P4 now, but he set that lap on 5 lap old intermediates. I know the Inters can last a fair bit longer than soft tyres in terms of a 1 lap run, but that's definitely impressive in my eyes to go that many laps on an intermediate tyre during a qualifying run on a drying racetrack and to then put the fastest time on the board. I think that's quite good.
Yeah, pretty good from obviously Curtis, obviously both Red Bulls up there, and along with the 2 Astons, so it could well be a mixed grid. I know I've been doing a bit of career mode lately, and they seem to be alright as we have our first driver out on the slick tyres, and it is AT.
AT in the Haas looking for that slick run, as you say. Imri also out there on the soft tyre as well, and DRS has just been enabled, so looking like it could be time for the laps time to start coming down quite quickly here. We're looking at a lot of drivers who are in the pit lane just waiting on their set of slicks, and as you said, Ben, it might be a case in terms of who comes out last, who is the last person to emerge onto the racetrack for their final lap and get to the line in time to start said final lap. So I dare say we could be here for a good minute or two until past when the checkered flag falls to signal the end of Q1, just to see that those drivers getting their laps in at the last second. But everyone looking at soft tyres now, and we are seeing cars emerging on the circuit. I'm just following along with Imri.
AT's going to get a lot of traffic.
You can see a lot of it. Oh yeah, wow! You can see it all on Protected. There's a particular train in the first sector who are also down there. Imri down by 1.6 seconds. So I'm not too sure what the move was here. I dare say Actually, me saying that he's got the battery charged up, so I think he's going for a fresh run this time round with a bit more momentum with DRS. So I have to wait and see what his best lap turns out to be coming into the session. We also had AT, who is on a flyer right now. 23.083 his first sector. This is his first lap, so we haven't got anything to compare it against for him just yet. But we'll get a sense here when more cars come towards the line. 2 minutes to go. And one of the Mercedes cars is in there behind the Haas. And whether that's Dan or Obsessed, I'm not too sure. That is Dan, who is still in second place for now. Websy still fastest on the timesheet as of right now. And I dare say I just saw a rain. No, I think I'm seeing things. Right, never mind then. I thought I saw my rain come back, so not to be. Right, here we go. DRS in play here, and looking like the two Haas teammates getting to work with each other again, as Grumio is there giving a tow to his teammate.
He's down
towards the last chicane. It wasn't a massive tow, but it helped do the job as he rounds the last corner here. AT's in P15 right now. There's 3 drivers who yet to set their lap times. Cottony, JB, and Ericsson. AT is one of them. He made 4, and now AT going fastest. So shooting to P15 to P1, 117.6 on the board. And JB's invalidated on his first flying lap here. He's got a minute 13 to get back around to the line again, so he's got to hope the traffic doesn't hold him up too much. He's got to find himself some clean room in that time to go for one last run, which I think he has done, fortunately. But looking like a quite entertaining last minute of qualifying. We're waiting here to see when Imrie comes through. Although I was saying that he's still warming his tyres up, so I think he's going for yet another run.
Yeah, I don't really know what Imrie were doing to fair, because I was watching through sector 1. And it was 2.5 times the drift, so whether he knew that wasn't a lap or whether he was trying to ease the tyres in into straight away nearly into the 16s now.
Lucky and Obsessed both going faster and faster as time goes on, and I'm wondering who'll be the unlucky soul to get caught out towards the end of this session, because I feel like it'll be a case of someone getting knocked out, perhaps not down to raw pace, but just down to being unfortunate and perhaps invalidated in the last lap. But Obsessed is now fastest. PJ's in second place, AT 4th, Websy P5, Dan. I mean, Imrie's P10, Camilla's P12, Huff into P1, 116.5 on the board for him. And once again, a good start to qualifying for the reserve driver, just his 3rd RDL start. JB, Cottony, Ericsson, all 3 yet to set their times here. Yellow flag is out in front. Grumio goes fast, 115.4. That's a big gain there. Checker flag is out. AT crosses the line in behind his teammate. I believe Dan's just started his last lap. Dan's safe in P2 there. Next car to the flag will be one of the Red Bulls, if I've got that right. Apologies, that's one of the RBs. 10th Cannon into the last corner here and looking for a strong end to her lap. She's P15 right now, so she's currently on the cusp of getting knocked out as Grumio obviously retires, calls it quits, up towards the flag for 10th. It's P4 for her. Should be safe for us to get her through to Q2. One of the McLarens next up is Alvar towards the line. Good quality last week. Can he carry it on this week towards the flag? It's P2 for Alvar. Good lap for him there. One of the Salvas towards the flag. Imrie on the cusp. P15 goes fast himself. 115.1 on the board. Ericsson is one of the cars at risk. Goes into P8 to the flag, knocking TJ into the bottom 4. But TJ in the last corner now, looking to make some gains. Cottony into P16. He's out. JB's invalidated. He is also out. TJ towards the line. TJ goes up to 3rd place. His teammate Cottony looking for a last-ditch chance to get himself into Q2. And Websy as well. So AT may still go out after all that as they round towards the line. If both cars do improve by a fair bit. Curtis towards the line. Websy goes up. Curtis goes up. P3 for Curtis. P5 for Websy. And that will knock AT out. So AT, Cottony, Che and JB all eliminated from qualifying 1. So it's a tough start for RB. On one side of the garage, as 10th goes through. Cottony there out. And AT being the first car out on slick tyres, Ben. And yeah, first car out.
Yeah, I think the track was ramping up, but it was just a bit too late for AT to properly use its potential. But at the same time, that's what happens when everyone leaves it till last minute and finds either time that you cannot.
So Imrie goes fastest then by a quarter of a second to Grumio. Dan in 3rd place, Curtis 4th, DJ P5, Websy P6, good Q1 for Aston Martin. We'll see if they can carry it on later on. TJ in P7, that's Alvar, Huff and 10th in your top 10. Obsessed in P11, Ericsson, PJ, Ethan and Lucky all go through, knocking out AT in the Haas, Cottony Goblin in the Ferrari, Che in the Williams on his quali ban, and JB didn't get a lap in the end. He'll start dead last for this Grand Prix. But it's time for us now to hop into Q2, and we'll see if any weather carries on. We'll see if it dries up a bit more, see if the rain comes back. And we'll see how we handle the second part of qualifying tonight. So Q2 set to get underway then here in Canada. It's still quite cloudy over the circuit Gilles Villeneuve, but the rain looks to have gone away for the most part. Everyone looking at slick tyres to get themselves underway. As Imrie, once again, first car back out on the circuit. Of course, topped Q1 and looking to carry that on as he seeks another pole position this season. It'll be his third in a row if he can do that. And yeah, we look forward to seeing what quali pace looks like when there's soft tyres on everyone's cars and everyone knows what they're doing this time and just flat out going for it, Ben. It should be as entertaining as Q1 was.
Yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed. But the weather doesn't look to be shifting anytime soon, does it?
Not at all, but at least for the minute, we're looking at a dry session for the time being. Obviously, whether it will come back or not too sure. And we'll see here. Obviously, we'll look at later on to see if we can get a third different pole into the season. Because shockingly enough, it's only been Grumio and Imrie who have taken pole so far in this campaign. So it's been a head-to-head between those two the entire time. Imrie leads Grumio by 1, 5-4. And with that in mind, Ben, we've got to do our predictions for the evening because I forgot to do that in Q1. So apologies for not bringing that up. Is there anyone you've got your money on for tonight's race to do well?
Grumio.
Okay, right. So
I have to call it back to Zach.
Okay, you know what? Because you're behind by 2 or 3, I'll let you have that. So okay, if you take Grumio, in that case, then I'm going to take Dan as my go-to for tonight's race. So
Grumio has a stinking Dan wins.
Is this a part of your plan to try and jinx the championship leader to try and make the title a bit more interesting?
Yes.
Right. Well, I wouldn't argue. Obviously, Grumio's pulled a big lead there, 86 points over Dan. So it's been. I mean, Dan's been in good form recently. Of course, second place last week. Led for a little while. Wasn't enough to hold Grumio at bay. Obviously, things worked out for him in the end over the course of the Grand Prix distance. But Dan was in his wheel tracks the entirety of the race there and didn't really let up in terms of pressure. Obviously, he pulled away a bit towards the end when the wet tyres came into play. But Grumio, I think, can be pulled back. And if it's going to be any circuit with this one, because I've seen him do strange things this circuit before. I wouldn't say this track is Grumio's bogey track, Ben, but I can point to a few instances where Grumio perhaps has been not as dominant, not as fortunate as he is on other circuits.
Yeah, well, I just have flashbacks of the incident that we had last season. That was predominantly caused by Grumio. On the safety car restart, it basically got away with a bit too slowly for our liking. We all just decided to T-bone one another.
Somewhat similar to the case in Monaco just 2 weeks ago. But we'll see if that tactic needs to come into use. Hopefully it won't, because it just gives the stewards a lot of work in that sense should things go wrong. But Imrie's gone fastest. We'll keep focus on the racing for the minute, as PJ to P2 as well, 1 minute 12.8 on the board for him. Ericsson to third, 1:13.3. One of the Ferraris next to, that's Lucky Lambert. And Lucky goes fastest there. Okay, right, so, I mean, this is a bit weird now in terms of tyres, Ben, because you and I both know in terms of how these guys run, they'll always do perhaps their first or at least their first or second runs in Q2 on their worn set of tyres from Q1, then bolt on the fresh soft to the second one. It's Hafner going fastest. I'm guessing these guys are all on worn tyres. Lucky is in there in a Salva sandwich right now in second place. Imrie's down in third, so I should think we'll be seeing better tyres coming on for the majority of these drivers later on. But Huff going fastest there, and to say he's made a splash in terms of his debut starts so far in terms of qualifying has been an understatement. His 1 lap pace has been spectacular to watch so far.
Yeah, massively. Obviously, joined the RDL, I guess you can call it, like teams. Back in Monaco, where he delivered that outstanding P4 finish when we all thought it was going to be on for the front row, maybe even pole position in his first race. So it's always nice to see someone who just joins in and is straight away quick off the bat.
Makes me think of back when Cott debuted in the league and he went on a tear in terms of winning races back in season 15, if memory serves. It was a very, very exciting part of the at the end of the campaign there. Obviously, Fan won the title by a fair few points to Websy at the end of it. Obviously, that comes down to Websy's best championship finish in his career, as Ethan goes second fastest. So I think we are seeing the majority of these guys on their worn soft, perhaps not giving it all the way that they can, and things will get more interesting when we see them bolt on the fresh set. Curtis comes towards the line and trying to improve once again here, but I think he won't improve. Nope. 1 minute 12.5 his best time, 1:18.6 that time around. So likely we'll see him in this time as Obsessed comes towards the line for Mercedes. It is P3 for Obsessed, 1 minute 12.051. So things still looking a bit more out of the ordinary compared to what we've seen in recent weeks, especially since, I mean, I wonder perhaps if the track is still sort of reeling from the wet conditions we had earlier on, Ben.
I wonder so, yeah. You can obviously still see a few wet patches here and there offline. It looks pretty bad as well, but at the same time, that could also be a way to cool your tyres down in case you want to go for a second run.
It'll be interesting to see how those second runs pan out later on, as you have had that 10 drivers come through and set their lap times now. 4 of the 5 who have not set times are in the pit lane. The last one being Dan, who's out on circuit. He's got his eyes on him now to go through the chicane. Lucky Lambert fastest this time, 1 minute 11.099. And Lucky is up there this week in terms of pace. I mean, I wouldn't say it's out of the ordinary, but he's doing a fantastic job, and he's come alive in these last weeks quali-wise. So I mean, we could be staring down the barrel, Ben, of a Lucky Q3 appearance if things pan out for him.
Yeah, we'll see. Lucky Lambert's looking really good at the moment, so fair enough. Bravo to him, to be fair. If he's on set tyres, that is a stonking lap time.
We'll have to see if that transitions later on. I mean, there's a team that's in need of some points. It's Ferrari as of right now. 4 points scored this season.
Dan's about to be it.
Dan goes fastest, 1 minute 10.4. I'm guessing he's on his fresh set. If I had to place a wager on that,
has to be, sure.
I'm seeing Imrie looking at a set of intermediate, or he was looking at a set of inters in the pit lane. Not quite sure what the game plan was from there, because the track is now very much dry. You're actually seeing a few patches of blue sky start to appear in the skies, which is always a good sign in terms of racing. DJ coming towards the last 2 corners here and towards the final chicane where the Wall of Champions is waiting. And I think back to that last corner as one of the places in the past, Ben, where Grumio has slipped up at this circuit. It was season 12 towards the end of the season, and Landlord was on course to, well, Landlord and Grumio are still fighting for the championship, and Grumio at the end of a Celtic safety car restart was on the verge of winning the race when he cut that chicane. Not by much, but it was enough to give him a 3-second time penalty, and he dropped a large number of places because there was only about, I think it was, can't be any more than 2 laps on that last restart, because I can't remember there being any DRS in play. So Landlord bested him that race in terms of points, and then in the next race in Australia managed to clinch the championship with a round to spare. So I've seen Grumio do things in this circuit that perhaps he wouldn't do in other places. So whether he goes on to win this one, not too sure. I wouldn't say I wouldn't count anything out just yet in terms of making Grumio as your bet for this week.
Like everybody else here, he is human after all. He does make mistakes, so we'll see.
I mean, I've said it a few times already this season that he's a fantastic driver, but he's not Jesus. But I mean, I'm saying that he's proved me wrong on many occasions over the course of this campaign already. We're only 9 rounds in, so I won't count my chickens too much either. But Dan's looking good there. 1 minute 10.4 on the board, fastest so far. Obviously, no points for pole position in the RDLs. DJ goes faster still, 1 minute 9.994. And these are, I think we're starting to see the fresh sets come into play now as the Aston driver goes fastest by half a second to TJ now in second place. Dan's in third. 10th Cannon in P7. She's looking good as it stands right now. Imrie is on the cutoff.
Oh, Grumio's gone for a spin.
Oh, around he goes there. He's caught. He's beached on. I don't believe it. The champion's beached on the inside of the hairpin.
What do you do?
Well. What about that?
Oh, reset.
He's reset. Okay, right.
Oh.
Well, I dare say that was a moment and a half there from your reigning champion, Salve Grumio. And as I say, Ben, I mean, commentator's curse, I don't believe it exists. But, yeah, you never really know in terms of what you could be served up with in league racing. I think that goes without saying. I think you know that as much as I do, but what a moment that was for Grumio. And he's down there in P14. I'm not sure if that is, I'm guessing this is his fresh set. But he's backing off here and waiting to find some room to go for a run again. As he rounds the last corner here, he's just trying to charge his battery up. He's going to go for it this time around. We'll see how much that incident has phased him. And there's 5 minutes to go, so plenty of time for him to get a lap in. Imrie in P11 here. He's on his outlap again now. So our usual 2...
Oh, he's invalidated.
Say sorry?
Grumio's invalidated.
Oh, it's just getting worse and worse here for poor Grumio, who's now going to go around doing another lap. And I imagine he had to pit again to refuel, because I see the fuel lights on his MSD already. So, wow, I mean, it's been a Celtic minute then for your reigning champion, who will likely need to return to the pits this time. We'll see if he carries on for another lap. Only one of the cars actually on the lap right now. That's Alvar, who's going through the chicane there at turn 10. Exits there nice and easy. Although he is also low on fuel. I think he hasn't set his time just yet, I don't think. So he's waiting for the Haas cars to go through. That is Grumio on circuit. AT obviously out in P16 at the end of Q1. But yeah, I mean, it's looking quite it's a grim situation for Grumio here as Imri comes through to start his next lap. Ethan's on his out lap, as is Websy and Ericsson. Obsessed is coming out of the pit lane now. I think he's on his fresh set as well. But I dare say, Ben, obviously I won't say anything just yet. But I mean, in terms of a bet or anything like that. But I wonder if we may see a surprise or two later on this qualifying session in terms of who goes through and who goes out.
Yeah, it could well be in for a surprise. Obviously, Imri's down there. Groomer's not being able to get a clean lap in at the moment. PJ, who is up there, Wedsey, who is also up there in Q1, is also down there. So we'll see.
Websy improving by a fair bit. They're leaving the first sector. It's 9/10 up, and Imri's 2.2 up. So I should think we see these guys top the timesheets in a matter of moments here. Ericsson, I say, also out on circuit. PJ's come back up the track. Ericsson's about had his lap deleted here. That could be trouble for him. He's currently in P14 and is 1.3 seconds, or if not 1.2, out from Obsessed in 10th place. So it's going to be quite close here as Imri does go fast. It's 1 minute 8.934. And there is the power of the fresh set of soft tyres we've been waiting for over the course of the evening so far. There is his teammate for tonight, Huff, emerging from the pit lane. And Imri lets him go. Huff running one of the special Sauber liveries. Always good to see. Obsessed go down to P11 as a result. So he's now the first car out. As Websy shoots up the timesheets into third place. So big gains for Aston Martin, who are looking good to get both their cars into the last part of qualifying. Curtis, Huff, 10th, Ethan, they're all cars that are all at risk at the moment. So we'll keep an eye out for those in a minute. And Grumio's out on circuit too, so needs to get a lap in this time. It's now or never for the champion to get himself up into Q3. Doesn't need much. We know how quick he can be, but just needs to get himself into that top 10 is all.
Yeah, he's the air on the side of caution here, Grumio. He's got a lot at stake in the minute. He's got a bit of a recovery drive if he does qualify so low down, but at the same time, we've also seen him pull it off. I think it may have been Silverstone last season, actually, when he started quite low down, but was able to recover in about 5 laps or so. So we'll see.
You're talking about the reverse group finale, yes? Remember
yes, that'll be right.
That was a race. I do remember that. That was a very good race. Chaotic, yep. I'm hoping we can get more of the same here. I mean, it's quite a different circuit to Silverstone, but chaos can always spring out to you in Formula 1, as you and I both know.
Yeah.
Right, so Grumio's about to come around and start what I'm guessing will be his only chance at a flying lap here as he comes through.
He will get one more lap.
He might get one more lap in, provided he doesn't have to back off. So we'll see. I think it's imperative to him that he gets this lap in, not be under any threat in the last part of the sessions. DJ also retires. Ericsson is also out. So Ericsson eliminated from qualifying already. So we're going to lose another 4 cars. Obsessed is also out. 1 minute 10.3 on the board from the Mercedes driver. That might hopefully be enough for him, but it's quite close right now. It's about 7/10 from Obsessed to Lucky in P10, but Lucky also on the lap make that Alvar in P10. They saw a car cross the line. That's one of the Alpines. That is PJ into P9. So gains for him. Grumio looking for a strong run as we're now within the final minute of Q2. And we'll see.
That was close to track limits.
Say again, sorry?
That was close to track limits for Grumio.
I mean, it's tight margins. He's 6/10 down here. But saying that, he's going to get a lot of time back here just by not beaching himself on the inside curb. So we'll see what his time looks like this time. I can't really judge just yet because this is his first proper lap he's managed to pull off in this session. He comes towards the line. He can need to not get his lap deleted here. He's not in position to go for another one. As he rounds the last corner, yes, he's got nice and clean. He's charged towards the line now. I think he should be safe in Q2. Q3 up into third place. Big gains there. But still behind Curtis in second place. Waiting for that checkered flag to drop now.
All we needed to do.
Yeah, sometimes that is all that's necessary. He's managed to make it stick. I shouldn't think he'll be toppled now, but these guys from sort of P5 on down, anyone in the 1 minute 10s, I think we should be concerned about. As the checkered flag now drops.
Yeah, just watching Dan absolutely send it through that final chicane. He goes full fastest overall, 109.7 and a 10th off Grumio.
10th Cannon retiring from the session there in P8. And she could be under a bit of threat here because there's still a number of cars below her who can still get times to get past her into Q3. Lucky is a P9 there. TJ is currently in P11. Huff's in P14. Huff crosses the line, goes P5. 10th is currently 9th. Lucky 10th. TJ towards the line. TJ into P5. That'll put Lucky out. And I think that should sort us then. So Imri again fastest. Curtis in P2. Grumio third. And it's Dan, TJ, and Huff your top 6. And I believe Lucky just went out there at the last. But good qualifying for Red Bull. Both their cars in the top 10 once again, Ben. And Imri looking in imperious form as always. So 6/10 this time. So bigger gap than it was in Q1. Grumio, Dan, TJ, Huff, DJ, Ethan, Websy, and 10th going through alongside him. And we lose Lucky, Obsessed, Alvar, PJ, and Ericsson. And then what was quite exciting Q2, Ben?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Right, so then, so that's our top 10 all set. And we're now in for what should be a very interesting Q3. So don't go anywhere as the fight for pole position continues in a matter of moments. So here we go then, the fight of pole back to get underway here in Q3. Our final 10 drivers looking set to try and race for the 10th pole position of the season. In terms of drivers, in terms of teams getting both cars into Q3, we're looking at just Kick Sauber and Red Bull this week. So we've got one Aston, one Haas, one Alpine, one Aston, one Mercedes, and one RB. So it should be obviously a very tightly knit session. Of course, Q2, in terms of get the gap from P1 to P2, wasn't as close as it was in Q1. Imrex put out about another quarter of a second or so, if not about 3 or 4 tenths compared to his Q1 gap. So I'd say he's definitely the favourite for pole position. Grimio's had, normally his closest opponent in qualifying, but he's had a bit of a topsy-turvy Q2 to put it mildly, Ben. So we'll see here if your prediction can make good to start the evening off right and put himself in pole position for the 5th time this season.
Yeah, it's Grimio. We've seen it before where he's been on back foot, but then claimed some pole position out of nowhere. So we'll soon find out. Obviously, Imri's had a bit of his moments here and there as well. He was down there in the drop zone before. Obviously, he went fastest overall and stayed fastest overall. And Grumio, well, let's just say he had a bit of a spinala.
We caught him there on the hairpin. Beached for a second there. Actually, I wouldn't say beached, more like stuck. It's probably a better word for it. I wouldn't say he was beached in the trap or any time. But just over here, on the inside curb.
Stuck in the mud.
Yeah, that's another way of putting it. Stuck in the mud, that works as well. Obviously, got himself out and got himself into Q3. That's the key thing. 10th Cannon there in Q3 once again. Good qualifying for her. Obviously, so far this season, for 10th results, it's been mainly it's been mostly Q1 and Q2 eliminations, but she's managed to climb away up in the Grand Prix. This time around, obviously, it was P4 for her last week, but it was just the single session, and we'll see if she can put herself high up in the order for a good starting spot this time around as well. But I'd say 10th has been the standout performer of the season so far, Ben. Would you agree with me, or do you have someone else in mind?
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you on that one. 10th's done fantastically well so far. Let's just see if that run can continue.
I mean, we've asked each week, and she's managed to do just that. So it hasn't. So there's not been too many roadblocks in her way in that sense. But I think we're seeing the first few cars heading up towards the line now as Imri heads onto the DRS straight for the first time in this session. Looking at likely just the 2 runs in Q3, as always, as he makes his way down towards the last chicane where the Wall of Champions is waiting for him once again. Keeping the car nice and controlled. Tapped the outside wall, but no damage done. Up towards the line here to complete his first lap. It's 1 minute 8.772. On the board for the Sauber driver, and next car through will be that RB of 10th. We'll see where she puts herself. 41.8 in the second sector, and charge up towards the flag. Looking like a 1 minute 9 starts off. 1 minute 9. I don't know. 1 minute 10. Whenever I say a number that I'm projecting a lap time for, it's always a few milliseconds out from that number. So I'm going to stop saying time numbers, but I'll see how long I last before I start doing that again. Curtis into P2, 1 minute 9.064. DJ and Websy hot on each other's heels. Both of them in the 1 minute 9s, 3rd and 4th. So Aston in good shape so far tonight. I mean, McLaren scored a fair few points last week, as we saw 10th. Ben with Alvar in 6th place for that team. And I dare say it'll be up to Aston tonight to try and get themselves a bit further away from McLaren and trying to relieve themselves of that pressure after last week.
Yeah, they'll be conscious of McLaren's recent rise, and I'd have to say in recent weeks as well, I think McLaren have done, while they've not been able to score consistent points throughout, they've definitely been up and around challenging the top 10, so they'll be conscious of that, and by the look of it, they're pointing right here.
I mean, no points for Aston in the last 3 races. It's been 19th, 16th, and 15th for DJ in these last 3 rounds, and for Websy, it was 11th at Imola. He didn't race last week in Spain, and I believe he did actually finish in. Sorry, he finished in 4th place in Monaco, but didn't adhere to the 2-stop rules. Therefore, got disqualified along with Che. Obviously, quali bans I believe have been served already. I'm not too sure. Actually, no, sorry. Che got a quali ban for being unrelated, so he did. So that was all okay in that sense. Grumio towards the line. Grumio fastest. Right, here we go then, Ben. This is the point we've been waiting for when Grumio sort of gets the hammer down and starts to lock in for Q3.
Yeah, it's typical Grumio to do that when he's on the back foot.
So Grumio now fastest over Imri, who's under pressure for the first time this evening. Curtis in 3rd place, 1 minute, still in 3rd, 1 minute 9.064. DJ 4th, and it's TJ 5th, Websy 6th. So it goes Red Bull Aston. 10th P7, Huff yet to set a lap time. Ethan on the racetrack on his outlap, and Dan towards the line. Dan in 6th place. So Dan's my pick for this week, so I'm hoping he can do himself justice in the Grand Prix. I'd say he's definitely come up in the last couple of weeks. Obviously, he shot to 2nd place in the championship. Still a long way back from Grumio, but it's been 4th, 1st, and 2nd from in the last couple of races. So it's been a big improvement. Obviously, after he took victory prior to the stewards report in Australia in that first race, he looked to be one of the ones to beat. But since then, it wasn't so overly. The results weren't yielding the same way as they were perhaps last season. Obviously, Dan had a multi-win campaign back in season 19. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he can carry on this form.
Where did Dan actually? So before obviously the season began, where did Dan actually win his race in season 19?
That's actually a good question. Memory doesn't serve. I will get back to you on that, Ben. As we've still got a number of cars to go around here. Ethan is on his first lap here. I will have a look for you and see what I can find. I know. Okay, so I know he won in Texas last season, which is one of the better race wins for him. I believe he took his first win at Imola, but that wasn't last season. That was the season before, if memory serves.
Yes, I remember that race.
One of the more enjoyable races of last season, has to be said. Yes, I haven't got the information on me right now, but I'll get back to you as soon as I can on that front. Majority of cars are on the pit lane here, so we are looking at a dry spell on circuit. It is just Ethan in terms of cars yet set a lap time and still on track. Huff is not yet on circuit. I think he came out but then has come back in. And into towards the last course. I've got a message here from HP Cook in the chat that I've just seen. Normal service has been resumed. Should we just give him the win now in reference to Grumio? We'll see if anyone can get close to Grumio over the course of the next few laps as Ethan goes into 7th place. We've got no one else on track right now, so I'll see if I can try and find out that information for you, Ben, since I've got a chance. If I have a look at my spreadsheet, or rather the spreadsheet that was produced.
Fair enough.
So Dan did win in Monaco last season, and I've got victories for him in Austria, or just Austria and Texas. So those were his 3 wins in the last campaign. He's won again at Monaco. That was his first win of the season on both occasions. So we'll see if he can add to that at the circuits that he did this time around. But saying that, the 2 victories that he took, the first 2 wins in Monaco and Austria, were both races where Grumio wasn't present. That I do remember. So I shouldn't think we'll be relying on an absence of Grumio in order for Dan to win these races. Obviously, he won Monaco in the same sense. So yeah, I mean, as we know, definitely capable of holding his own against the faster drivers and beating them out on regular occasions. So obviously, since sort of season 18 time, he's been a lot faster than he was in the past. And everyone's now in the pit lane, so we are just waiting now for last laps. I'm seeing the Aston crew get in, I think, both their cars. No, that's the one car ready. That is Websy out on the circuit. And I'm seeing Alpine have come back out to bring Ethan into the pit lane, and just waiting on anyone else to come out now and join Websy out on the circuit. As last run's about to be getting underway. We've got 3 minutes to go, so I imagine we should see a last traffic jam of the pit lane to get our final laps going, Ben.
Yeah, I imagine so. It normally kicks off between now and 2 minutes 30 when they all start piling out, and they all pile out at the same time.
You sort of want to be the last person to the line if you can help it in that sense. Well, see, the only driver who I think doesn't really adhere to that is Pope. Obviously, isn't with us this week, but Pope likes to go in some cases a few minutes before the end of the session if he can, to try and avoid any sort of traffic. But obviously, the track can evolve in those few minutes, so it's critical moments like this where you've got to sort of put everything together in qualifying for that one lap in that one moment, and just hope it works out for you. I mean, obviously, the track has changed a fair bit since we started to back off in Q1 about 50 minutes ago. The rain has been long gone. There was no sign of the intermediate tyre in Q2, and definitely no sign of it this time. Hopefully, if it's going to be a dry race, hopefully it'll be a bit brighter, a bit nice to look at on the circuit when we go into the Grand Prix. But if not, we could be looking at perhaps some rain, and from there, and also an equally exciting 35 laps.
Indeed.
Right, and so 2 minutes to go, and yeah, as you said, Ben, we are seeing drivers coming out here. You see Imrie is there in the pit lane looking for his 6th pole position in 10 rounds. Grumio yet to leave his garage yet. I'm seeing TJ's team getting him out onto the circuit. Curtis is out of track already, so both Red Bulls out on track, and Grumio is away just in front of TJ. So look at one of the last cars going round. Ethan is still in the pit lane. I wonder if he's keeping it there. Ethan, I think, is the only car still in the pit lane, as DJ is now retired with 4th place in his grasp. Whether that changes, I have to wait and see. It's another 300s back to TJ in P5. Yellow flag, one of the Aston Martin slowing down. That's Websy slowing for Curtis. Imrie so that's Huff towards the line. And last lap's now getting underway. Websy is on his lap at the moment, but I think it's backed off, so it's going again. And yeah, this is it, Ben. This is the moment where we get the real scrap pole position.
This is normally one of the more interesting parts of qualifying, interesting parts of races. Not to mention that the races are not interesting. They are. But this is one of the more exciting few minutes I actually kind of look forward to. This scrap for Q3. Scrap for pole position.
It's all been building up over the course of Q1 and Q2, and obviously the first runs in Q3. So I don't blame you. Yeah, it does also come down to this, and a deleted lap could be costly for you. It could be the difference between 1st or 10th. You never really know in that sense. That's the beauty of these single lap runs in qualifying, and the ability to just hammer them out consistently. 30 seconds to go. Grumio starts his last lap. Only waiting on TJ now to come to the line. He's coming through now to begin his final run. Huff be the first car through towards the line, followed by 10th, and then by, I believe that's Curtis, as he comes up towards the hairpin. Last corner for Huff. He's been knocking on the door of a good qualifying in recent weeks. He comes up towards the line, and it's going to be P4 for Huff. So good run for him in that Sauber. 10th, currently P10, up to 7th place. Improves by almost 4 tenths. Next car through to the line will be Curtis. Checkered flag is now up. Ethan in the pit lane. DJ out, so he's waiting on another 8 more cars to come through again. Curtis is the first of those cars, and in behind him is Websy, who's currently P10. Curtis up towards the line. It was like deleted though, last second. There we go. So Curtis is still a good qualifying for right now. P3, if you can hold on to that, it'd be chuffed, I should think. Websy not improving. Improved by a 10th, but stays in 10th place. Here comes Imrie towards the line. Imrie goes fastest. 1 minute 8.466. Grumio says that deleted too.
Unless Dan can do anything about it.
And Imrie then may go unchallenged. Half obviously completed his lap. TJ, one of the next cars to the line. Dan in P5. Perhaps not a big gain as he might have liked. And TJ towards the line. I think he's the last one coming through, more or less. And he's into P6. Right, so 10th and Huff already completed their laps. Just waiting for them to come to the flag now. And that'll do it then. It looks as though we're seeing Imrie once again on pole here at Canada. So, again, the qualifying maestros show up. And by exactly a 10th, it's Imrie on top.
What is it with the Easter looking out the front row? I'm not going to lie, in recent weeks, Easter have been a bit too close for comfort. We'll see if that continues on.
I mean, yeah, they're maestros of this sort of thing, Ben. It's been these two in qualifying all season in terms of pole positions. So Imri, that's his 6th pole of the season compared to Grumio's 4. He'll lead the reigning champion to the first corner to short runs turn 1 as well, so keep an eye on that. Curtis in a fantastic P3 for Red Bull, Huff in P4, another fantastic qualifying from the reserve. Dan P5, TJ P6, and it's DJ 10th, Ethan and Websy rounding at your top half. And that'll do us then for qualifying. The Grand Prix is set to get underway in a few minutes' time, so don't go anywhere. We should be back shortly. Welcome back then. Time for the Canadian Grand Prix, round 10 of season 20 in the Racers Driving League. And if you just missed qualifying, then you're in for quite an exciting race because it was a great one. It's been fantastic so far. And hopefully we're looking at more of the same over the course next 35 laps. Grumio, your defending winner of this race. There is the circuit Gilles Villeneuve. We're looking at 14 corners on the circuit as a whole, 19 cars on the grid. But we have a bit of a concern in terms of what's happened in the build up to the start. Ben, what's going on at the minute?
I'm guessing it's due to the fact that I'm disconnected and then reconnected back. It's probably the Williams.
Okay, right. So
he wants me to race.
No. So I think what we'll have to see you do, Ben, is likely just do a lap, do the full race lap, do the first lap, just sort of trundle it round and then bring it into the pit lane.
Yeah.
Right. So there we go. Then that was that's our moment of chaos for the week. It should be an exciting race as well, in addition to that. And obviously you've put down Grumio as your winner because you need some points in this prediction race fast, and I've put Dan in as my driver to perform to try outdo Grumio. But it's P2 against P5 to start things off in tonight's race. Imri on pole again. He and Grumio again leading the charge to the first corner. You can see him there on row 1 as we'll get set to get things underway. So Imri on pole, Grumio to his right for that race towards the first corner. Medium tyres, both cars on the start. Curtis starts in 3rd place in the Red Bull, looking to carry on his fantastic scores in recent weeks. Points finishes in all 3 of his last races in Imola, Monaco and Spain. Huff in P4, looking for his first big score in this series, so as a reserve, but still looking to put himself on the map with a big points finish. It's Dan starting in P5, took 2nd place in the championship last week over Imri, 86 points back from Grumio. TJ P6 capping off Red Bull's fantastic qualifying, both cars in Q3. DJ P7 retired later on in Q3 but got himself into a good starting spot. 10th, currently 6th place in the Drivers' Championship of the 2 straight 5th place finishes. Can she get a 3rd one from P8 today? Ethan P9 for Alpine, he's leading the attack for the Enstone based outfit, and Websy lines up P10 again. Good qualifying for Aston, both their cars in the top 10. Lucky P11 still knocking on the door in his first points of the season. Obsessed lines up P12 Mercedes, hard tyres on for him. Same thing for Alvar, of course, finished in 6th place in last week's event for McLaren. PJP14 looking to add to Alpine's tally. They're currently 7th place in the Constructors, quite a way off of the RB and Red Bull fight for P5. Ericsson P15, again looking for his first points for at least the last few rounds. AT P16, unlucky to get caught out in terms of Q1 earlier on in the evening. Cotley Goblin P17 for Ferrari, looking to add to his tally. Obviously, he's got 4 points on the mark already this season. Che in P18 serving his qualifying ban. JB didn't get a lap in Q1, so starts from what should be dead last. But Ben, as you can see, our co-commentator hopping in for the first lap to retire the car in the pit lane, and will hopefully be out of the way by the time they come around for lap 2. So Ben, it should be quite an interesting race.
Oh, hopefully, yeah, and hopefully there's no carnage, so I'll remain at the back, hopefully.
So Imri and Grumio then on the front row as we let's get ourselves underway. Just waiting for the lights here in Canada. Here they come for round 10 of the season, the Canadian Grand Prix here at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. It's lights up, foot to the floor, and we are racing. Good start from both cars in the front row. Good start from Imri on the left. Covers Grumio off. No such dramas as it was last week. Imri leads into the first corner. Grumio second. Curtis third. Huff in fourth. Dan and TJ side by side for 5th place.
Oh, that's a foul
in the back.
the
There's
back.
probably got collision in the back there, I believe. And Ben is involved. But I'll probably back off from where you are, mate.
It went. I wasn't involved. They were collision between AT and Alvar, I believe, so.
We'll check for damage on both those
on the
cars.
outside.
No end plate loss for either one of them. Che, 10-second penalty for cutting a corner and gaining 2 places then, right? So, Che making gains on the start then, but after that quali ban, but now the penalty to think about for the next 34 laps, so that could be a concern for him as Imri leads away. Grumio second, Curtis holding on to 3rd place, Huff, then Dan in P5, TJ, DJ, 10th, Lucky, Ethan. Lucky up 2 places as well. Good getaway from him in the Ferrari. As I say, Che up 5 places, but staring down the barrel of that 10-second penalty when it comes to his first stop. So he makes his move to the inside of Obsessed Gamer, going into the hairpin. On corner exit, pulling in front of the Mercedes there. Good move from the Williams driver. Imri is coming through to complete the first lap. No DRS in play just yet here, but Grumio is still half a second behind and knocking at his door. It's a 1920 car Formula 1 express train as they round the last corner through turn 14 to complete the first lap of this race. Imri in control, Grumio second place, and it won't be until I believe turns 6 or turn 7 when they get DRS to come down towards the this is the first DRS zone as Ben pulls the car in and can now join us completely in terms of race coverage.
Back to normal.
Back to normal. Okay, right. And
Although I did make up for 2 overtakes on in the first few corners, so I'd happily allow JB to write that in history books.
I will admit I was very surprised to see what looked to be for a second you going for a move into the first corner. So I was hoping you wouldn't get involved, but there we are. Obsessed Gamer 3-second penalty for track limits, so a tough start to the race for both Che and Obsessed to end up with penalties. Che is knocking at the door of Websy now in P11, so Che with a fantastic start despite that penalty to think about. He'll have to serve that his first pit stop in the Grand Prix. He dives to the inside of the Aston Martin into the hairpin for the second time, and Websy's got no choice but to cede there. DRS in play for the first time in this Grand Prix. Grumio will be closing on Imri as a result. Grumio burning through a lot of its fuel early on. He's already got a yellow warning light on the field. Obviously, no concern early on as these guys are fueled to go the full distance, so shouldn't be any concern in that sense. We're down towards turn 1. Imri leads lap 2. It's fastest lap for both those 2 cars. Huff in 4th place, setting fastest lap. He's on the tail of Curtis into turn 1, but it should be, hopefully in the next lap or so, things start to get a bit more interesting in terms of overtakes as everyone starts to get settled in and hopefully starts to enjoy the race a bit more.
Yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed. Wish I didn't retire now.
Huff challenging Curtis there in the 3rd spot, or for the 3rd spot rather, going into turns 6 and 7. Good move there from the reserve driver in the Sauber up into 3rd place. Obviously can't score points, but a podium would do him wonders in terms of credibility. Perhaps should there be another sequence. Dan tries the inside on Curtis there. Double whammy for the Red Bull driver who falls down 2 spots in the space of 1 sector. TJ behind them in 6th place, bit loose there on corner exit out of turn 9. Sorry, that's through turn 10, apologies, and they make the way through as Curtis and Dan still side by side. Curtis at the inside of the hairpin there, and both cars going at it. Both cars with DRS, too, slight bit of contact, yeah. You saw they've been tyre banging as they head down towards the wall.
More tyre banging.
It's good stuff. It's wheel-to-wheel racing here, but Dan comes out in front as Che now passing Ethan in the Alpine as they enter the final chicane. And Che is going for it. He's up 8 places, wasting no time at all in these first 3 laps of the race as he begins lap 4. And Imri still in control by 4/10 to Grumio, who has reeled him in slowly but surely. And I have no doubt we're going for a move sooner rather than later. But these two have been quite close quarters in recent races, Ben. So hoping that they won't touch again this week.
Yeah, the rest keep it clean. Otherwise, it does provide some entertainment, but not the entertainment we want.
Couldn't have put it better myself there, but Grumio still half a second back on corner exit, so I shouldn't think a move this time round would suffice him unless he gets a good enough run. Not using his overtake just yet. Imri's used a fair bit of his battery in comparison to Grumio. 86% for Grumio and 49% for Imri, but Grumio's quite close to that. They might go for a move to the inside now towards the hairpin, making his move for the race lead for the first time today. Grumio nips to the front, but Imri would have switched back on the inside. Gosh, there was contact there. Lucky to avoid damage both cars there in terms of the end plate, but you saw Imri trying to sneak up the inside for a gap again, and Grumio with DRS now going to try and pull away if he can do.
Yeah, it was well timed from Grumio, although as they say, obviously he did go for a bit of a 10, but he had no choice but to bail out and nearly loses the car in the chicane, last chicane there.
Got to keep his composure, but in that sense, he's now a 3/4 of a second back from Grumio himself. So, whether it be the opportunity now for the champion to try and pull away and try and leave the rest of the pack in the dust. Huff still in third place, holding off Dan in fourth, half second separating those two cars. As AT and JB go side by side through turn 2. Contact, a bit of contact on corner exit. Another car coming off too badly. But AT getting in front of JB. He's going to back out a bit this time, going in towards that first chicane, second chicane. Courtney Goblin penalty in behind them. That's a 3-second one for multiple warnings. JB again trying it on AT, going into the chicane for the third chicane on the circuit. A lot of chicanes on the circuit in there, Ben. I've just noticed that.
Yeah, I think there's 4 chicanes in total, and then there's only like 11 corners or something.
14 corners of memory, so I think it's about 6.
Oh, 80's got off.
80 off the circuit there, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a warning for that. Obviously, he's backed off a little bit, so I might get away with it. But Ericsson going to try and get involved now, but lifts off to avoid having to try and challenge either one of those two cars at the hairpin as they make their way down towards the Wall of Champions DRS zone in play from once again. Imri is quite close to Grumio again. DRS in play, but using a lot of his battery that time round, and not using as many anymore this time. Keeping it in medium.
He's up to 8.
Saying sorry.
Shay is up to 8th already.
Shay making moves there. Fantastic. He managed to get himself around Lucky Lambert and 10th Cannon since we last saw him. So his next target on the hit list is DJ, and obviously he's got that 10-second penalty to worry about, Ben, but he's going for it regardless. I think he's very aware of that fact that he's got to think about that penalty.
Yes, you all inflated for it, so he's not going to be able to make it up. He's going to get stuck like Imri did at Spain.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, Imri was more stuck in terms of pace, as opposed to being stuck behind cars. But obviously, we did see a fair bit of that towards the end of the Grand Prix last week, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
That whole gaggle of cars behind JB fighting for the last points. That's trying to calculate penalties. That was fun. I mean, his task is a lot easier this week so far. It's just so right in the minute, it's just try and chase down Grumio, keep with him without using too much battery. But he is struggling in that sense. He's almost out of charge completely. But I think he's perhaps looking at a move this time round. I think truthfully, he needs to harvest a bit more to really stand a chance, especially given that Grumio can use his overtakes to try and defend. Huff still in third place, so Dan not getting close enough just yet. The 2 Red Bulls in tow behind, P5, P6, DJ in behind them, and Shay will now try and join that fight as DJ slides a bit on corner exit. No move being made between teammates just yet. So they're down towards turn 1. We're on lap 7 of this Grand Prix. Shay's up 10 spots in the first 6 laps completed of this race. He's on the move.
He is on the move, absolutely. Obviously, with the 10-second, we said this before, he's going to drive around the outside. DJ, he's going to go to grass.
Didn't quite work out for him there. And Lucky Lambert going to try to take advantage of that. Down the inside goes the Ferrari, up into 8th place. The former champion is on it himself today, up 3 places since the start. JB up 4 spots. Those 3
all
are the
depends.
80 up 2.
All the penalties.
Another penalty, sorry? Number of penalties.
All the penalties are coming through.
I think track limit starting to impact the number of drivers in the back there. JB, Ericsson, PJ, Cottony, all getting penalties there. So all 4 of them in a bit of trouble early on here as they've fallen off. I mean, JB's obviously up there still fighting with AT, but AT himself is 3 seconds back from Ethan in P13. And from there, Ericsson, PJ, Cottony are just sort of struggling with the minute. And Alvar back there in P19, I think by himself for the minute. As Che now making a move on. Oh, Che passed DJ, but a penalty for Imri now. And I think he's been caught out that last chicane. Let's get our final warning.
Yeah, it's come out from Curtis.
We thought the exact same thing there, Ben, didn't we?
Yep, it doesn't show up saying Curtis has entered the pit, so I just assumed something had happened.
Got to remember the pit lane entry is a bit longer in Canada before it again decides that he's in the pit lane. But hard tyres on for Curtis. It's the first stop of the Grand Prix, and the strategy will start to come into play over the course of the next sort of 5 or 6 laps. I should think as the medium tyres start to wear out. Imri with that penalty there. I mean, we've got 7 drivers with penalties on the board already from 19. It's almost half the grid to kick us off in these first 7.5 laps completed. And
just saw Ethan had a bit of a moment coming out of turn 5 and turn 6.
Ethan in the top spot there, currently trying to hunt down Obsessed in the race for P11. Obviously, Obsessed, one of the cars with a penalty. And I wonder perhaps, Ben, if those medium tyres are starting to reach their tethering point, where we might see some stops perhaps sooner rather than later. Perhaps that's why Curtis has come in.
Maybe, yeah. Fingers crossed. Maybe a 2-stop race. It depends how far the top runners can take those mediums.
It'll certainly be interesting to watch here. Dan getting quite close to Huff for a move towards turn 1. He's down the outside. Huff's got to give him the room. DJ in the pit lane there, so one change being made in that same sense as Dan down the inside through turn 2 and turn 3, and it's a good move there from the former race winner up into the 3rd spot, and 3.3 seconds back from Imri, who himself is about 7/10 back from Grumio. So work for Dan to try and get himself towards the front as Che gets hit with another penalty. It's 13 seconds for him already here as Ethan and DJ both in the pit lane, hard tyres on for both of them. So I think we're probably looking at hard, medium, hard. Yeah, oh, car around. And that is JB.
Safety car.
Safety car is out, yes, for a spin down at turn number 4. Well, there we go.
Damage all over the trip. That'll be why.
That explains it. I mean, JB keeps himself going, but a front wing, yeah, big loss of front wing there, as you say, Ben. So it needs to be a trip to the pit lane for JB to fix that. But I wonder if that'll close things off in terms of strategy, make everyone sort of quite a straight line in terms of what their plan is now. I think hard tyres on for all these medium tyre runners. I dare say we might see Obsessed take the lead, perhaps, still running his hard tyres.
Yeah, thinking it's going to be, obviously, it's going to be a 2-stop now as every goes slightly wide for the broken front wing, or no front wing at all, should I say. In terms of those drivers who have just literally just pit, I believe, was one of them JB?
JB hadn't pitted just yet. He's been on the same start since the start, so he's that's to take a second stop, which I think is good for him. Hard tyres on all 3 of the top 3 here. Grumio leads away from Imri and Dan. So nice and routine. Huff had to lift for a second there. Obviously double stack in play for Sauber, but still gets away out in front of TJ. I mean, obviously he's Dan quite a way ahead of Huff there, so managed to pull away a fair bit. But things should be as you were on the restart. Seth also pitted, so no change for him. Courtney Goblin stayed out, and he looks to be the wild card in the top 10 here. 7th place on old medium tyres. That could be interesting.
Yeah, it could well be, yeah. It could be maybe hold everybody up, but it could also really hit those behind, so we'll soon find out.
Front wing change for JB. He now finds himself at the tail end of the field there in P19, but on a fresh set of hard tyres now. So I should think that I should say a right Ben. I say it'll likely be a 2-stop from here. I can't imagine the leaders taking the hard tyres 25 laps and getting to the end realistically. So you never know. If with the right permutation of things perhaps going their way, it could happen. I'd say you probably need another safety car or 2, a few laps to sort of keep the tyres in some level of working condition to keep them moving. But I'd say, yeah, so if we're looking at another stop, I wouldn't be surprised to see mediums or even soft tyres put on towards the end of the race.
Yeah, same here.
So our state of play then, Grumio shows the way. That's good for you, Ben. George Imri in 2nd place, so I refer to him as the first. I'm used to referring to him as Imri, so bear with me on that. Dan in 3rd, it's Huff in 4th place, Curtis in P5, so TJ in P6. There were 2 Red Bulls still up there, and both Ferraris now in the top 10. Oh, now Courtney Goblin coming in, so the threat for wild card reduced here as the Ferrari makes its way into the pit lane. So that'll be everyone who has made their compulsory stop for this Grand Prix. Hard tyres on for Courtney. You've seen Ericsson making a change. He's gone to a set of medium tyres, so a change we made there in terms of one driver going the opposite of everyone else. And Curtis, obviously having made his stop prior to the safety car, is in the back of him P5, like nothing happened. So he's come away quite nicely, to be fair. He's had a few laps to sort of readjust and then get himself into order again with the hard tyres on.
Yeah, I got a bit lucky with that one though, Curtis. Obviously he came out just after he pitted, so on a normal situation, whereas if he pitted probably a few laps later on, could have ended up being a bit worse off. It could have also happened literally right as he exited the pits, which I believe it did happen to. It may be PJ or Ericsson.
Both cars are down in P15, P60 at the moment, and both of them were penalties to their names. Che has now served us 10 seconds, so only got 3 seconds to worry about, but he's now back down in P13, so hopefully we'll see him come back to the field in the same manner as he did the first time around. Alvar, the only car yet to stop, sorry. I thought everyone had come in, but apparently not. Alvar on his same hard tyres. Then trying to take advantage, perhaps being a bit further up the order. But safety car in this lap, so the lights in the safety car are off. I'm going to get a restart here. Now, Ben, obviously, we discussed it earlier on, and what we'll have to see here if Grumio tries the same thing he did last season.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if that causes any chaos further back, but I don't know, with Grumio being tall, he may well have done.
I think he's going for it, but Imrich's going to keep with him as best he can. And there we go, green flag back out. So no risk of Grumio repeating the acts we did of last season. But Imrich staying with him though. Good restart from both cars here. They pull away into first and second. Dan in third, Huff fourth, and Curtis your top five. Everyone keeping it nice and clean here as we head towards the first corner. It's all single file to start us off. But Imri with a second chance here to try and keep with Grumio, and he's right on his tail as they head towards turn 4.
Yep, but Che's already making moves on Alvar. Gets moved on through turn 2 and into turn 3.
Already a second back there from Obsessed in P11. He's got work to do as Alvar finds the outside wall for a second. At least I thought he found the outside wall for a moment. He's getting passed by both Ethan and almost by his teammate Ericsson, but PJ having better ideas in the other Alpine. Ericsson was taking a wider line there to accommodate the Alpine on his inside as they went through turn 7. And up front, it's still these two Shanoi, but Dan now also...
Who's just gone sliding?
JB off the circuit. Recovers it.
Yeah, may have been JB. I just saw somebody go sliding through that chicane.
I have to imagine likely was JB. He's still there in last at the moment. As PJ and Alvar go side by side, it's almost 3 wide here as Alvar gets in behind the Alpine. His teammate is on his outside. I'm fearing what could happen between these two McLarens there towards the last corner. They got to get grip and figure out who's going where. Ericsson is there in front. Alvar tucks back into line. Fastest lap from Dan, but Ericsson now with a penalty. So that's holding Alvar up, and now AT going for it as well. AT's boxed in though against the 2 Haas cars, makes his move to the inside. That's 1, that's 2 for AT. 2 for 1 deal into the first corner. Fantastic move there from the Haas driver, and while his teammate now sits in second place as Imri moves into the lead. It's looking good for AT here. He's trying to get himself moving again and look towards those points paying places after a dismal Q1 exit this week. But Grumio now in second place and looking to try and fight back. Dan, Huff, and Curtis, and that's your top 5 altogether as they head towards the hairpin once again on lap 13.
Yeah, I'm just checking for warnings at the moment. So it looks like Imri may well only be 1 warning away from another penalty.
And Grumio sneaking up the inside there. I'm maybe aware of that, perhaps keeping an eye out in terms of penalties for Imri. I might try to force him into another error here, but DRS in play this time round for Grumio. This should be a nice clean overtake as he makes his move. There he goes, blasting past, and Dan Mel's trying to take advantage on corner exit if he gets close enough. Through the final corner, it's all single file. Everything keeping nice and clean. His chain now passing Obsessed down that same DRS straight. Oh, Obsessed hit the outside wall there. He's kept the car under control, but he's lost an end plate. So damage done to Obsessed. And Ethan will be snapping his heels there. Sorry,
did Obsessed hit the wall at the World Champions?
He did indeed, yes.
Incoming champion.
Well, there we go then. Well, that'll be the call. We'll see if that comes to fruition. Although I think the World Champions is for drivers who have already become champion, Ben, if memory serves.
Very well be, but then also if you turn to where in real life F1 obviously goes on a bit of a whack against that barrier, and so did Kevin Magnussen back in the day.
Yeah, I do remember that back in the. That was ages ago now. Magnussen and Grosjean and Haas. That's at least 5 or 6 years ago at this point.
Yeah, well, yeah. Back in 2019, I believe it was.
The days of the rich energy Haas. Those are days that I do not want back.
Yeah.
I didn't like that livery, that's what I'm saying. But regardless, the Imri's going for it again. DRS in play, and it's going back and forth, cat and mouse between these two, hammer and tong, whatever you want to call it. Imri back in front. And obviously with DRS try and respond as well. But he's going to try and pull away here because he has got that 3-second penalty to think about. But with Grumio on your tail, it's easier said than done, to put it mildly. Dan, Huff, and Curtis are still in the top 5 and still chasing those guys, still in DRS range. Lucky is holding back a train here of TJ 10th. Or saying that Webbs is going for a move there on the outside of 10th as they go side by side on corner exit out of turn 3. It's Webbs, he pulls in front for P8, 10th and 9th, and Che in 10th. as they make their way through turns through the chicane once again. I dare say Che may go for a move sooner rather than later, as he has done so far in this Grand Prix. He's been the peak overtaker so far in this race. Obsessed is still holding strong in P12 despite having that end plate damage. Ethan's still with him in P13. And Alvaro's in the pit lane here, so made his first stop onto set of medium tyres.
I don't know why Alvaro would have left it till this late, unless he's trying to do one stop and catch everybody off guard.
Grumio back down the inside, takes the lead back from Imrie. He may have done that in peak time too, because I think he may hit, because Grumio will now get DRS too. So I dare say the activation point for that hairpin's at quite an awkward spot in terms of it. It's in there before, it's in there at a point where it can get DRS of a car and then make the move prior to the DRS zone. So it's a bit odd in that sense. I've no like that about the Montreal circuit. But Grumio now pulling away. He's half a second in front. There's still plenty of racing to be done though. Still 20 laps to go. So we get lap 16 of this race. And behind them here, still waiting on Che to go for his next move. Che's managed to pass 10th now. And Websy next in his sights as they go through the first couple of corners. And Che must be enjoying himself massively at the moment.
Yeah, I'd say he is. Obviously, that'd be a bit further up, but he's definitely not having an easy night as he would have wanted, obviously, with the qualifying ban, but I'm sure he's loving it, making moves left, right, and centre.
Making the most of the situation he's in as Ethan gets hit with a penalty. Alvar taking him on 2. So look at this. I mean, I felt this could be one of those races that comes down to track limits in a matter of senses there. It's 11 of our 19 runners with penalties at the minute. So only AT, DJ, 10th, Websy, Lucky, Huff, Dan, and Grumio with no penalties to their name. And 4 of those cars are in the top 6. So they're doing quite nicely here. And Lucky could be looking potentially, if he can keep himself in range of Curtis, could be looking at perhaps a 5th place finish. A big 10 points for Ferrari to help them close back in on McLaren in the race for P9.
Yeah, we're looking at that way. Just on a note of time penalty note, as it stands at the moment, we did have 42, but then we got another one, so up to 45 seconds of time penalties across the grid.
And Grumio fast lap as well, just to add to the Sauber drivers' troubles. And I'm sure you'd much rather that the cars behind him weren't really keeping up, but they are. Huff got his own penalty as well. So Dan's been good here to run in second place. So I think it's his sights to be set purely on chasing Grumio, who he is 2 seconds back from. So if Grumio gets a penalty of his own at some stage, then that could play into Dan's hands quite nicely. Ben, does Grumio have any warnings at all?
Can check. Last time I checked, he did not have a single one. He does not, so he's kept it very clean for 17 or so laps.
On the other end of the spectrum, JB is there 9 seconds of penalties. He's just taken his 3rd track limits penalties. But he and Ericsson go for a slide there, going through the chicane, with cars keeping themselves steady and carrying on as they are. Still DRS in play for Imrie, who's pulling away big time now from Dan in 3rd place. I think he's doing good to try and pull away and try and pull that 6 seconds if he can do so. But they're saying that it's only really Dan who's got to think of that, because Huff, Kurt, TJ, all penalties of their own. And Lucky there in P6. But Lucky actually closing in on TJ now, as Imrie is close to Grumio on corner exit, not using his battery towards turn 1. Both cars quite low on ERS as we enter that first corner. Yellow flag still being put out on the time, but nothing going on at the minute, so we'll leave it for now. Everyone keeping it nice and chill. It's all single file at the moment. And it's gone by quickly, Ben. We are actually halfway through this race already.
Yeah, it's went by the first 18 laps. At this rate, though, we're going to have over a minute of time penalties.
It wouldn't surprise me at this stage of the Grand Prix. I mean, it's one of the easier tracks to get penalties at. So there's a number of chicanes that are sort of easy to go over the curb on. So it doesn't surprise me. That is just league racing for you. I think on some circuits, you don't see it as much on the street circuits. For example, as Imrie goes a bit wide, they're leaving turn number 10 through turn 9 down towards the hairpin here, still behind Grumio, but a bit of a tighter line on corner exit, going to try and keep up with the reigning champion and defending race winner here around Montreal. DRS in play for him once again here, and a lot closer this time round. Grumio's got plenty of batteries to come back at him though, so a good move for Imrie to take the lead, but Grumio will keep with him and try and force him into an error if he can. And there goes Huff down the inside of Dan into the final chicane. That not work here. Both cars actually keeping it clean, and Dan is in 3rd place. Good move there from the Mercedes driver to keep the Sauber driver at bay, but not done yet. Huff on the outside. This time Dan's got to give him the room. But again, nothing for the minute as Che up into 6th place behind. He's managed to get past TJ.
Yep, and we've got another move further back as well with Ethan overtaking Obsessed.
So Ethan has, I imagine, wanted to get around Obsessed for quite some time, given that damage is in play for the car in front. Whether he knows of the damage, I'm not too sure. But I'm sure, that he's been waiting for a fair few laps to make that move, and he's done it now. 18 behind both these two cars, and not making a ton of progress at the moment. But I dare say, if he can keep the car clean, he may still get a place or two and find himself a spot in the points if penalties play out for him later on this Grand Prix. He's just got to keep it nice and steady. But 10th there is currently in P10, and she's 2.6 in front of DJ, make that almost 2.7. And I think looking.
Oh, contact between 18 and Obsessed, and 18 nearly went for a half spin. Sorry to interrupt.
But that's all right. Both cars keeping away from the outside wall. That's the key thing. As Grumio goes blasting back past Imri again. When we're inside, obviously the final 20 laps this Grand Prix. We're coming up on 16 laps to go, and I'm thinking it's gonna be these two for the race win. Imri is now 3 seconds in front of Dan. So if Dan gets a penalty of his own, then Imri is a lot safer in terms of the race for the second position. But obviously Grumio is a much bigger concern. So he may need to try and force the Haas driver into some sort of mistake to try and ensure he does get a warning or two to push him down the orders. Oh, I've got a car around. It's Alvar on the McLaren who's gone for a spin. Recovered it. So no concern there. The green flag should come back out in a matter of moments here. And there it is. But yeah, I mean, it's been a difficult one for Alvar so far, given how good a race he had last week.
Yeah, I guess it depends, obviously, on track characteristics wise, and if he's actually looking forward to this one. Obviously, if you look forward to a Grand Prix, you tend to do a lot better. I've noticed that, and a lot of other league racing drivers have also noticed that. Or you could just be like Grumio, just win every single race, not care if you like it or not in the world.
I don't ever got a chance to speak to Grumio too much in terms of interviews. I think I've only ever seen him for about 2 or 3 in the entirety of my time here. But Imri going for it again. I didn't think I was going for it again for a second as Huff gets around Dan. I think Imri's trying to set up for an overtake here down towards Tillman, but Grumio's got so much more battery than Imri does, even with DRS. The Sauber driver's got no chance of countering in that sense. So Grumio holds his lead, and Imri starting to think about that penalty. And Huff back in front of Dan. So that's doing Imri the world of good right now. If Huff can keep down at bay, and Imri can build 6 seconds over the Mercedes driver, then that'll keep him in P2 minimum. He can try and throw things at Grumio for the lead.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. But then again, Huff and Dan have also got to be conscious of Che only being 1.3 down the road.
Che is closing in rapidly as he has done the entirety of this Grand Prix. Still has his own 3 seconds to think about. So Dan looking quite good here in terms of a podium finish. Should he keep with Huff, or better yet, just keep in front of Huff? If he can get back around this time, I have to wait and see. So head down towards the chicane once more in a matter of moments. And further back here, Lucky Lambert still running in P8, still looking for his first points since return to league. He's doing a good job so far. Got to hold it in for another 14 laps. Websy P9, 10th still in the 10th spot. She's 4 seconds in front of DJ now. So that penalty coming into play for 10th will not impact her in terms of finishing position for now. Ethan in P12, AT P13, are still in Ethan's tail. Obsessed is down to P15, so struggling a bit more now since that end plate damage. Ericsson penalty, he's got 15 seconds worth now, so not doing fantastically. He makes up probably about a quarter or so of the penalties accrued so far this evening. I'm not sure if we've reached a minute now, Ben. Are you sure?
I'll get calculated and come back to you.
Fair enough. All right, and DJ has gone down 2 spots. So DJ in the pit lane. Right, so change being made then for the Aston Martin driver. He is in and looking at another set of hard tyres. So we're going to start seeing the tyre game come into play a bit more towards the end of the Grand Prix. The question now is what can you do in terms of strategies? Ericsson retires in the pit lane, calling it quits there.
That gets rid of some penalties.
Say again, sorry?
That gets rid of some penalties that were accumulated. Sorry, Ericsson, but it did.
Oh, there we go. I mean, Ericsson's taking a fair few of those away, I think. Oh, around goes Imri! Spun the car on the exit of the chicane.
Oh, wait a minute, no.
He's recovered it. I'm not sure if he's got damage or not. But that is a big, big break then, and a huge turn of this Grand Prix. I think he's going to go away with no damage to his end plates, but that leaves Grumio largely uncontested now for the race win, unless we get a safety car. So some sort of change in these last 13 laps or so. Huff now in second place. Dan is in third. Dan going for second now. It's up to him. And Huff off into the pit lane.
Oh, Huff has got front wing damage.
Contact for Huff?
Yeah, contact. He ran into back of Che. I don't think we're expecting Che to continue on. Obviously let Che pass, but Huff has now got front wing damage. He's getting that front wing changed, but that's going to cost him a heap of time.
And a double
stacking.
It's all gone to pot for the Kick Sauber team in a matter of just half a lap or so. And Imri, I think it's not changing damage. Hard tyres on for him, but tough break there for both cars. And Grumio now 4.4 in front of Dan, who's got to try and work now to try and close in on the race leaders to try and win this Grand Prix. This is for predictions, Ben. This is just between me and you now in terms of the our two champions battling for the race win. But you've got a big advantage here and having Grumio 4.5 in front.
I don't know if it's an advantage or if it's been hunted because obviously Dan's been doing very well and then obviously Che's right there. So we'll soon find out.
So Che obviously can into the mix as well. He obviously has that 3 seconds to think about, but I dare say given the pace he's exhibited so far, we could see him try and dispel that gap sooner rather than later. Does other car come in? Nope, both cars staying out. And I dare say we may see DRS in play from Che this time round. Now these two I know perhaps not F1 as much as they have been in the past. I know that their focus is more shifted towards Le Mans Ultimate. But they can still definitely drive. That they're constantly proving that. 10th Cannon into P6 there, so making gains herself. Websy in the pit lane. Hard tyres going on. I'm not being told now who's in the pits and who's not, which is quite concerning. So, Huff's out.
Oh, yeah.
In the pit lane, I believe.
Yes, indeed.
Yes. So no such change there. No safety car or anything like that. Imri still on circuit. He's P13 now at the moment. But we'll gain some places back here once the pit stops filter through. And we'll have to see if we can make of the situation at this stage of the Grand Prix now. He's in P11, 1 place off the points. And Grumio not really getting any further in front of Dan as of right now. Got a car around that is... Oh, JB's around for the second time in this Grand Prix. Keeps the car rolling. Bashes the outside wall as well. Both walls there in that moment. But got moving it. I think he's got end plate damage. I'm not too sure from this angle. I'll have to see when he comes back. Oh, around he goes again.
Oh, poor JB. We're on such a roll when Che gets down.
And he's out the race. There
and
he is.
JB's out. He crashed?
No,
He
he's
just
inside
died.
on the spot. And
Right,
no safety car, it seems. Everything stays green. It's Grumio into the pit lane now. Hard tyres going on. He's away. Perhaps trying to cover himself off for a potential safety car, but I should think we're all okay. But that's a number of cars out, then 4 cars out in the matter of just 3 or 4 laps. Che now leads the way over Dan. And Grumio down into 6th place. And Imri off the circuit in the last corner. Cut the chicane.
He needs to get back into a rhythm.
I mean, it's one of the toughest things to do, Ben. I imagine you know a bit about getting yourself back into the rhythm after falling out of it, shall we say?
Yeah, cheers, like, but yeah.
I'm sorry, you make these very easy for me to do.
I kind of asked for that one, did I?
Ah, no, I wouldn't say that. I'm probably just being a bit of an arse, but we'll carry on.
No, it's good.
Che did get around Dan. Dan's the back of that. Dan's now in the race lead here, so his opportunity to try and gain a bit of time on Grumio has arrived. But I dare say his old teammate may give him a bit more headache than is needed. But as Che goes blasting past here, DRS in play. And Che, from the quali ban, the fact that he's even leading the Grand Prix at this point is fantastic to see. As both cars stay out on the circuit once again here. Grumio is in traffic. Lucky Lambert in 3rd place as TJ comes off into the pit lane. 10th Cannon will join him as Grumio now will head up to 4th place again. He is currently, as it stands, can't see it just yet, but he is 8.9 seconds, 9.2 back from the lead. So I should think that when Che and Dan pit, Grumio should retake the lead without too much fuss, and that will likely be the end of the matter in terms of the race win today. But in terms of strategy, the race is not over yet.
I'm trying to calculate the amount of penalties that will go at the race.
DJ slides at turn 1. Kept
Oh,
it.
No.
In fairness, he held it and kept the car straight.
If we kept it out of the wall.
Yeah, that's the other key thing. Yeah, no damage done, but likely scuffed those tyres, I should think. Given the severity of that slide, he rejoins in P12. That's going to bring 18 into the points paying places now. That'll bring 10th into P9. Imri into P8. TJ Websy also up. Websy on some good points here for Aston Martin. Looking for his first point score in the last few rounds. Only scored 8 points so far this season, so any points would be welcome. So he looks to double his tally with a good result here. Grumio making the pass on Lucky Lambert. 2 champions wheel to wheel for the first time in quite a while. Grumio gets in front, and here comes Dan to pit lane. Che over the curb there. That's a very big, that's a bunny hop to put it mildly. As Grumio heads past the wall of champions there, and will head into 2nd place as he gets now in front of Dan. Lucky Lambert getting tyres ready there. Grumio fastest lap. And Che now leads by 6 seconds to Grumio. Wait, obviously has that penalty to think about, and has the obviously worn tyres. I doubt he can get the tyres to the end from here. But medium tyres on for Dan then. So Dan and 10th both taking medium tyres. Same thing for Lucky. As Imri gets another penalty there. I think it's his 4th of the day. No, it's only his 3rd. 9 seconds on the board for him. That is the most of anyone. Say, Obsessed has got 10 seconds. Got 10 seconds from something there. I'm guessing for speeding, if I had to guess.
Yes. So it pop up. Yeah, it does.
And still running with that lack of end plate on the right side of his front wing. So struggling here to the least. Both Alpines, they're at the points there. 1.4 back from Ethan to Lucky, who holds on to that last points paying place for the chance to try and run down AT, 10th Imri, TJ. Number of competitive cars here. Could still have a good chance to score some points in this race. Some good points too. As Grumio closing on Che. 3.6 seconds the gap now between those two cars. The hard tyres worn out for Che here. He finally comes to the pit lane for be his second and likely final stop of the race. And Grumio comes through to assume the lead. And assuming he has a nice calm final late laps, should be on for his 7th win from 10 races.
Yeah, well, it's Grumio. He's a 10-time world champion, and he's a 10-time world champion for a reason.
Yep, continues to keep up that same level of performance, which you can't fault him for in the slightest here. Dan into 2nd place. Curtis in 3rd place now, emerging over Che. Imri still in 6th place. We've got a chance to try and get himself back up the order, but obviously that's the penalties to think about. And not to mention TJ on his tail as well as they go through turn 3. Che getting right to work here. Websy, his first target, running in the 4th spot. Websy perhaps trying to hunt a podium finish with Curtis in 3rd place there with 3 seconds to think about in his own right. But I dare say Che may have other ideas, because Che will likely be capable of getting around these two cars and then building 3 seconds. So quality band to podium wouldn't be too bad a day for Che at all.
No, it wouldn't. It'll be a fantastic recovery, and definitely want to cement him as a good run of form for next few races, maybe.
Perhaps looking that way, yeah. I mean Silverstone next week. I've seen him win at Silverstone before, so former race where he's taken 2 or 3 victories there in the past. So keep an eye for him to be dangerous next week as well, as he makes the move with DRS on Websy, going down towards the Wall of Champions. Once again, that final chicane. Curtis at 1.6 in front of Che, but that gap closing rapidly there. He's gained about 2 or 3 tenths on that straight alone. And we're on to lap 29 now, the Grand Prix. Fastest lap in play, fastest lap for Dan. And Curtis still in 3rd place, Che in 4th, Websy 5th, Imri in 6th place, and then closing down on Websy himself, looking for some DRS this time round if 10th doesn't get away from it, if TJ doesn't get away. 10th is in 8th place, 18 9th, and Lucky side by side with Lucky Lambert there in the race for that 10th spot. And everyone behind Lucky's got penalties, so it looks as though Lucky's safe in P10 at minimum for the minute, unless, of course, he loses that position-wise to either one of the 2 Alpines. But as it stands right now, it's just 4 drivers who have not taken penalties in this race. That's 15 drivers in all who have gone without penalties. Lucky tries the inside now on AT, into chicane. Obsessed game with 22 seconds there. For track limits, it's been a tough day for him the most.
Yeah, as indeed for the rest of the group. We're up to 1 minute and 7 seconds of penalties now.
Well, I mean, that is that's almost a complete lap of this. That's almost, I dare say, 2 or 3 more penalties will have matched the pole time in terms of tonight's race, which is an impressive feat in itself. But that, again, there's Connie.
It's not funny, but it is.
It's only funny, Ben, if you're not contributing to it. That's the only thing I can say. Because we're in quite a fortunate spot here in the country box.
They need to go with Dad.
It's like it's almost like musical chairs in that sense. We sort of count down to there's only about 2 or 3 of them left, and then they'll sort of go for it. AT, Dan, and Grumio, the last one standing in terms of no penalties. 18 maybe set to gain a large number of places here of a number of cars if he can keep himself close. Well, they're saying that he's got to close in on this train here from TJ up to Websy. Curtis just in front of them, and Che in 3rd place. But Che looking good now for the 3rd spot, so he's just got to try and run down Dan in the race for pride now for 2nd place between the 2 former Haas teammates who won the Constructors' Championship last season in particular. That feels like a long time ago.
Do you reckon 18 knows at this rate the amount of penalties have been given out during the race?
I mean, I imagine he's got to sense the cars around him because it'll tell him on his MFD, but in terms of the cars in front of him, I'd say he's got no clue the cars in front have got as many penalties as they do. So whether that gives him less incentive to try and chase after the pack as it is, not too sure, but his main focus for now is on keeping with Lucky Lambert, or trying to pass Lucky if he can. Grumio's now into lap 31, 5 more laps to go in this race as Imri makes the pass on Websy in towards the final chicane, makes the move stick there, and we'll start working on chasing down Curtis. Obviously, he may not keep all these spots thanks to having 9 seconds worth, but you need to be 6 seconds in front of any cars he wants to try and beat from this race today, or just hope that the cars behind him get some more penalties, which could happen, given how quickly they've been given out tonight, so you never really know in that sense. Dan's trying to close on Grumio here. The gap's still 9 seconds, so not a lot again. Yellow flag as DJ retires in the pit lane.
It is.
Yep, tough end to the race for Aston Martin. at least on one side of the garage. The other side's looking for some points paying places here. Obviously, double Q3 for those two cars. You can't really say fairer than that in terms of their performance in the first part of the evening. As Imri's on Curtis's tail, looking for that 4th spot. Curtis has been denied the podium here by Che, who's on the tail of Dan here. And looking perhaps for a 2nd place finish. I mean, he's got time to try and pull away from Dan as well. But Dan on the, I think on the, actually no, Dan's on, Che's on fresh and medium tyres. So we're looking good here by a lap for Dan's Che to take advantage of the extra lap of wear on the tyre. There he goes though, blasting past, call it you like. P19 to P2, and if something goes wrong for Grumio here in these final 4 laps for whatever reason, and Che, with a miracle in mind, could still win this race theoretically. As Imri makes the pass on Curtis going through the last chicane, and there it is, another penalty from 12 seconds, and I dare say the progress he's worked back since the spin may all be for naught.
Yeah, I think it's looking like he's going to drop out of the points entirely. So unfortunate for him, but he kind of got forced into that one because of what Curtis's position is. Imri's all over the road now.
The case of the tyres being as worn as they are means the hard tyres aren't fantastic, and I imagine the high temps with the sun out not really helping too much in that sense. Oh, and a big slide there as he leaves.
Sliding.
I imagine he's likely to push him a fair bit too in terms of getting around these cars, because it's no easy feat, even if the tyres are hard ones. But I should think that those tyres are running quite hot at this stage, and that might be
every corner.
And we almost got a sense of deja vu there from Imri's head towards the hairpin. But for now, though, it's all Grumio up front, and Dan is going to come back at Che here in the race for that 2nd spot. Dan takes P2 if he can just stick with Che, and if Che doesn't pull away, essentially. So Dan's still got not much to race for now. Looking for a 2nd straight podium finish, 2nd place once again for the 2nd time in 2 weeks. To obviously go with the victory in Monaco, as Curtis now back around Imri. Oh, contact between the pair of them.
Oh, Imri's all over the place.
Very close there to having both Webbsy and TJ running into each other. And Imri's now been swallowed towards turn 1. They're 3 wide to the first corner. Closer contact. Webbsy slides.
There we go.
So, he's running 10th.
Oh,
10th on the circuit, avoided them.
Oh, that's just unfortunate for 10th that, isn't
a
it?
chain reaction. 10th comes off worse there. Still in the top 10, still in the points, and still penalty-wise safe for 8 points paying finish. But can still come back in these last 3 laps, but tough break for her. TJ now takes full advantage. Imri slides into him. Contact, both cars around.
What is going off in this race?
And things have gone to pot for both cars here late on. TJ around, Imri around. Contact in the chicane. A tough place to be for both machines there. The tyres running evidently quite hot. Both cars at the points. And that'll cap things off for the end of a dismal evening. For the end of what could have been big for Red Bull. Obviously good for Imri as well. Both teams then. Tough break for both of them.
Get the feeling that Imri's going to end up boxed into a tyre car as he slides again. Oh, those tyres are cooked.
Very hot tyres there, it has to be said. Grumio up front here, 2 laps to go for him. Dan and Chase still going at it. Curtis by himself in P4 now, so looking okay in his sense. Webbsy P5, Lucky back into P6 again. And with TJ and Imri sliding out the points, 10th back into P8 herself, so not doing too badly. As this game there, P11, despite those 22 seconds, should likely finish the last of the running cars, I should say. Or actually, perhaps finishing as low as P13. I shouldn't think that Connie or Alvar will lose out to it. I shouldn't think that they'll lose out to him because they're too far back in that sense. But the fight for P2 rages on. Still a few tenths covering these 2 former teammates, good friends off track, and still battling each other for that 2nd spot. But I mean, Dan gets it regardless unless he gets a penalty now. But Che is not giving him the easiest time.
No, he's not. Obviously, we've mentioned the fact that these so friendly, but at the same time, where do you draw the line? Where do you end up going a bit aggressive? Where do you go over the line when you're friends in RDL? Because you can't make friends in Formula 1. We've figured that out in both RDL and in real life.
I mean, F1's changed, and this is league racing. We're all friends here. Last lap for Grumio. Yeah. He's up to 9.4 in front of what is now Che in 2nd place, and he may try and bolt now to try and gain those 3 seconds if Dan won't let him go. If he can get himself out of dodge DRS-wise, which he is doing, then that might help him a fair bit. If Dan makes a mistake trying to close him down, that might help Che even further. But it looks as though Dan will still walk away with second place here. Curtis on for a fantastic fourth place finish here. Websy P5, Lucky P6, AT right behind. AT obviously from that Q1 exit himself up to seventh place right now. So the cars come from behind have done quite well in this race today. It's been overall, we're looking at this position game wise, it's been 16 places for Che and 9 for AT. But up front, the one place gained for Grumio. This comes through the hairpin for the last time to put Courtney Goblin, perhaps put Courtney Goblin a lap down in the closing moments of this race. DRS not in play for him, but it may catch him regardless. And probably blue flags in play as the Ferrari may let him go. He may back off, not too sure what he's doing, but Grumio will likely go through, and he's waiting for... Is he waving to Connie? I'm not quite sure what he's doing there. But Grumio rounds the last corner. Then checker flag is up for his 7th win of the season here in season 20. The champion comes to the line once again and wins the Canadian Grand Prix. Che will beat out Dan on track for second place, but Dan will take home the points thanks to that penalty from Che. And without that single penalty, it would have been a generational drive from Che, but P3 is still a fantastic result regardless. And Websy now passing Curtis at the last here. DRS in play as the big gaggle of cars comes towards that final corner. Websy in with a magnificent 4th place finish to make up for Monaco. 12 points on the board.
80
penalty at the last. Good eye there, Ben, as 10th Cannon comes through with P7, 80 and P8, and both Ethan and PJ end up with points. So Alpine double points for them. Obsessed Gamer to the line in P11. TJ will come home in 12th. Imri in P13. I mean, obviously Obsessed will lose a fair number of places here thanks to that penalty. TJ into P10 there. He managed to get a point on the board at the end of the race. Imri into P12. Second straight P12 for him. It's been a dismal day, all things considered. It's all going okay from the last sort of 15 laps or so. Obsessed P13, Alvar P15, Courtney Goblin in P14. And yeah, I mean, that was a... still a chaotic Canadian Grand Prix, to say the least. A good mix. Oh, Grimier's lost his entire front wing on his in lap. What's happened to the champion on the way through? That is...
He smashed into the wall on the checker flag, did this? I wonder if he lost it there.
Perhaps, yeah. Well, I think I might have just missed him as he was going over the line in terms of when that happened. Well, there we go then. Well, Grumio wingless, but with the win. So that's the key thing I'm sure he's most concerned with at this stage. 7th win of the campaign then. Grumio winner there. Dan in second, Che third. It's a podium we've got quite used to seeing over the course of the last few seasons or so. Haas once again home with the victory. And yeah, it's just a very enjoyable race for all there. We'll have a look at your race results in a matter of moments. The celebrations begin. Ben, give me your thoughts on that one, mate, because that was excitement all over the shop, to put it mildly.
Penalty galore, chaotic, and a bit of a mixed up grid, I won't lie.
Very, very enjoyable stuff, though, all the same, though, right?
Yes.
Well, there we go, then. So Grumio wins it from Dan and Che, your top 3. Websy finishes in 4th place. It's Curtis P5, Lucky P6, 10th P7 in the end, 8 to 8th, Ethan 9th, and TJ grabs one last point in the end, despite that late instant in the closing laps. PJ P11, Imri P12, Obsessed, Courtney, and Alvar, your finishers from today. DJ, JB, Huff, and Ericsson all went down as retirees, and Ben, of course, you ran the first lap, but retired the car in the pit lane, so you are classified for once in the results this season. Hey. And that will do us then in terms of racing for tonight, because that was very enjoyable, but also very tiring. I feel the need to sit down now, so I'll sit down and we'll get post interviews underway. Yeah, it was a fun one. And obviously,
it was, yeah.
The fun doesn't stop here. Silverstone next week, so that'll be an exciting race as well. But yeah, Ben, any more thoughts to add? I mean, obviously, you've won the predictions this week as well, so hats off to you for that.
Yes. Finally, even something. No other than I'll hold JB to the fact that I was able to make an overtake while commentating.
I think best for us to not really make him too aware of that one, but we'll probably see it in the...
Wasn't my fault, though.
To be fair, I think I caught a bit of it on the stream, to be entirely honest, so we might get a little bit of you sort of side by side with another car, so that could be interesting to have a look at later on. But we'll see who comes and joins us for post-race interviews, and yeah, just have a chat with everyone, because I mean, yeah, that was great fun from my end. I thoroughly enjoyed that one. I'll always do. These ones are great fun. Yeah, and then obviously next race coming on the 9th of February at Silverstone should be a blast there. Just waiting for anyone to come through and give us a look. I mean, I've got 10th Cannon in, and once again, 10th ever present in these interviews. 10th points on the board for you. Once again, then, it is a... I've got to double check my thing here. It's a
7th in the end,
7th or 8th place. It's been a few seconds. 7th place finish for you. I thought so. Just wanted to double check. But yeah, chaotic to say the least. But the streak continues on, and more points on the board for you.
Yeah, I'm glad of that bit. I gotta be honest, I didn't really enjoy that one. I hate to be the sort of negative Nancy at the end of the race, but that was really not fun. The tire wear was crazy, man. Like I thought that maybe I thought that it was gonna be pretty easy, so I took an extra set of mediums, but no, it was horrible. The mediums were basically dead by like lap 5. I think I checked after lap 3 and I had like 22% on my rears. Um, so yeah, not ideal.
And in terms of not ideal, I did want to ask you about the instant you got caught up in with a few laps to go, lap 32, I think it was. Yeah, I mean, just chain reaction that caught you out towards the end of the Grand Prix, but still managed to get some points in the end. What was the immediate reaction in terms of that moment you got got punted out at turn 2?
I don't think I can repeat that on stream. I probably swore a bit. Um, but I wasn't happy, but I didn't blame Websy. Because I'm pretty sure it wasn't his fault. He apologized anyway, and I said it wasn't his fault. Um, but I was pretty mad because I think I'd done pretty well at that point. I'd got pretty lucky and I'd had a really nice race. So to have it compromised at the expense of someone else's mistake kind of annoys me a bit. But I mean, I recovered in the end, still got some points, and I think AT got a penalty at the last chicane, and that put me ahead of him in the end. So I'll take it.
Obviously, in terms of the Constructors' Championship, 6 points for you for RB, and at the moment it is 11 for
Yahoo!
Red Bull, so 5 point gain
Ah,
in Red Bull's favour. But I mean, it's still quite close. Is that a gap you guys, you and JB, feel like you can close in the next few weeks?
I hope so. I guess they just need some more bad luck for the Red Bulls, but I'm feeling good in my pace so far. I hope I trust in JB. I think he'll have some more good performances because he is a good driver. Um, but yeah, we'll just have to see what the next week's bring.
And in terms of looking directly ahead to next week's race at Silverstone, is that a track you feel like you can perform at?
Ooh. Well, unless the tires are made of cheese, then I think so because they were a bit they were a bit cheesy today. I now understand why the mediums are yellow. Um, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's a home race for the majority of the field. I don't think so technically for me because I'm not English, but I mean, it's the closest thing I have. So you know what? RDL home race. We win these.
Yeah, I mean, it's the British Grand Prix technically, so which does encapsulate. Alright,
Let's
okay,
not get into that on stream.
alright. I'll ask this though: will it be more enjoyable to drive Silverstone the right way around? Obviously, you had the reverse grid finale last season, and that was a reverse track race as well. So we're going to drive the right way around this time.
Well, I'll probably be biased and say no because I finished quite well in that last one, but I don't know. I mean, I don't think I've driven forwards way Silverstone on this game, so I don't even have a set for that track. But yeah, we'll see. I like Silverstone. I think it's a fun track. So I guess all will be answered next week.
All-out attack in terms of next week's race then at Silverstone. That'll be an enjoyable one. As I say, you can catch the one on the 9th of February. And at the same time, same place on the Zach RC channel. Yeah, I mean, no one else is here. So, Ben, any final words before we sign off?
No, other than thanks for allowing me to participate for literally one lap, and thanks for delivering a chaotic race again.
That did happen indeed. Right, so there you go. There's your moment to cap off the week. And that'll do us then in terms of coverage for the Racers Driving League Season 20 Round 10 in Canada. Make sure to join us next week for the British Grand Prix. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more future RDL action. I've been Zach RC. Have a fantastic evening, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.